begin by talking, a friend of mine started out with his by talking about the three things he writes obsessively about. My three things are Jesus, of course, my pet cat, and Binghamton, New York, where I was a Coca-Cola driver. All right, so this poem is an imitation of the prologue of the Gospel of John. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was a hammer. And out of nothing the hammer banged something, a hippo, a peach, a light bulb, and the hammer was the face of God. Not a metaphor, the hammer was God. And this sort of responsibility didn't faze him. When it was time to make man, he decided to sleep on it. Woke up very early the next morning under the turning of the sixth sun, picked himself up, and from the afterbirth of creation, he formed man to be like himself, so that man would not be found faceless, void. And when man first opened his eyes, saw the hammer like a child looks at its mother, certainly man loved the hammer for giving life. But man got tired of looking at his own face, and in the face of looking at his own face in the face of the hammer when he met him in the cool of the morning, every morning. So man found the nearest mirror, and in what was supposed to be a point of great irony, broke his face into it, hoping to scar the image. Instead, the shards stuck, left him viewing only what was left of his former visage, cursing the day he was given eyes to see. Later, when the hammer came back to make things right, it became a hammer, lowly, unexalted, driving in his own nails. This poem is called Two Different Stories About the Same Thing, Both True. The priests were out in Manhattan today. They were dealing in the economics of substitutionary atonement. They were holistic healing on buses, chattering on blackberries, catching the free fall of human spirits in their parachute cassocks. The streets were filled with the leftover vacated wine. Woody Allen was trying to find a parking spot for his cross, and I was busy writing this confession of neglect. I was busy staring at the naked mannequins. Not a sin, but still I'm guilty. I asked the priest for a blessing, and why do good things happen to bad people? How do I do penance for a parking ticket? When will the pigeons quit smoking? Don't they know it's bad for God's creation? The priest said, I don't know, and I don't want to say we have only a certain number of breaths to breathe, but for God outside of time, it certainly seems that way. And since it's all make-believe anyhow, what did St. Kevin do with his blackbird? Because I've had several birds try to nest on me in my beard, and trying to make them leave was like catching my hand in barbed wire. This poem is about getting arrested. I wasn't arrested. I didn't want to seem more badass than I actually was. It's called Late Night Arrest. I must ask how you made me forget my objections, my need to get in bed early, stay up instead, and spend all night admiring the Turkish girl with hips I can only describe here as nice. Though I think she might have been married, and perhaps I should be ashamed to admit it did not stop me from staring. Her husband was not around. Now you must already have made love to the girl you wooed home into bed, and have fallen asleep with her head in the crook of your arm. But I am beached, perhaps even aloof, and the cops are up late too. Their lights are flashing down the street from me. I hear them on their loudspeakers. Please set behind the police car. And I do. And I think of all the women, all the Turkish girls with admirable hips who might just brush their hand up along your side like this cop who frisks me, asks me where I've been, what I've had to drink. And I reply that unlike you, I do not have a place to go, even though I do have a cat that needs your stomach in the morning like a doctor searching for a hernia. And I don't have a place where I can lay somebody's head all night, but how happy I am for you to be in love, my friend. How happy.